Welcome to the Kill Your Pride podcast, a show about letting go of things that prevent you from reaching your dreams and being yourself unapologetically. My name is Danny. I'm here with my co-host.
KYP James.
And today we have a special guest, co-founder and CEO of Review Card and Kirk Media. Welcome, Kirk.
Thank you guys for the invite.
Yes, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back.
We had the mini episode and now we're jumping into the real topic. As a lot of our audience doesn't know, Kirk specializes a lot in social media. I think we can just do a little tangent and really you can let us know what you specialize in.
Great. So I specialize in TikToks and strategy for marketing, for branding, for brands, and I help them figure out what they are selling. So that's pretty much what I do.
Nice.
Self-starter, right?
Self-starter.
Yeah. You're the only one doing it right now? Like, do you have a team right now?
Oh, yeah. So now I have a team. I have a guy in Toronto.
Oh, wow.
But right now it's mostly me, him, and we hire people like for videography and drone shots.
Awesome.
And so being that Kirk is a specialist in social media, I think it's the perfect time to talk about addiction, really. And three things we want to talk about on the show is number one, what is considered addiction? Number two are the repercussions of social media. And number three, how we overcame our addiction and even our addiction of social media. And so let's jump into it.
Well, first, I think addiction is something that you're doing without really being conscious of, I believe. It's something you're doing with impulse without really being able to take a step back and understand what's really happening. Let's say on social media, if you're just opening your phone and go on Instagram instantly without really thinking, which I think a lot of people can relate to. You're like, why did I open this? And then you just start scrolling on Reels. Well, I think that's a pretty good start to see maybe this might be an addiction.
Yeah, so I put a timer on Instagram now for like 1 hour a day. And I blow through it when I wake up before work. Like I'm scrolling as I wake up right before I have to go to work. It blows up to 1 hour. It's already done. You have to close your app. So I'm definitely addicted to social media, which I understand, yeah. How about you, Danny?
I think for me, addiction, and I was having a conversation with Collins back in the days about it, and he made a very important find that he found on a podcast or a keynote. And the psychologist said that addiction is basically something you do because you cannot stand being by yourself. And so when we talk about addiction, a lot of times we think about the extremes of addiction. You're addicted to drugs. You're addicted to smoking. You're addicted to drinking. You're addicted to gambling. But nobody talks about the little addictions you have, right? Yeah. Where, it doesn't have to be always negative. But let's say you're sitting in a bus alone and you're alone with your thoughts. The first thing people do a lot of times is either they put on their headphones and they listen to their music so they get lost in their music, or they pull up their phone and they scroll on social media. And I think that is what addiction is the fact that you can't be with yourself, be in your own mind, that you need something to distract you from reality, to escape reality. And that goes with gaming too, where a lot of people cannot stand being in light. And I'm guilty of this, where I used gaming to escape the life because I wanted to play this MMORPG. I used to play MapleStory like 18 hours a day.
Yeah, back in the day.
Because I was like, if I can't make money, at least I can fucking kill the slime and make mesos.
Make money in a game. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about that, Kirk?
Well, I think that's a really good point. I've been reading A Man's Search for Meaning from Viktor Frankl, and he mentions that it's kind of like feeling a void that we have when when the work week is done, let's say you work, you wake up, you go to work, you come back home, and then the weekend comes. Let's say Friday afternoon or Saturday, Sunday, you don't work. So what do? Like, you have this void of being with yourself, or you don't know really what to do, so you're kind of bored, and you're trying to find a way to fill this existential vacuum. It's like a vacuum that needs to be filled with something. And a lot of times this happens because I believe some people don't, it's hard to find their purpose in their life. And when you don't have this kind of purpose or knowing your why, it's hard to even just know exactly what you want.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you're getting bored with doing nothing. So you have to fill it with something.
Yeah, I you know what I get, like Danny was saying as well, when I'm not motivated or when I'm bored, I end up going through gaming a lot. So there's phases where after work I'd have to game. I wouldn't do any editing, I wouldn't do any social media, I wouldn't work on myself, go to the gym. I just end up going on a game for 2-3 hours. And it doesn't happen, like, I'm not gaming anymore right now, but it does happen when I'm like burnt out a lot. I don't know if being burnt out and being sick of life, I guess, affects addiction a lot or heightens it. Or I don't know if you guys have been through phases where you're constantly going through consuming an addiction. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's like a cycle that we go through that happens again and again. And like, we have to see the pattern, but it's hard to see the pattern when you're in it.
Yeah.
And even if sometimes people say it to you, like, bro, like, why are you gaming right now? You're not supposed to be gaming.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it because you just do it.
You just feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think it's, especially when you're down, right? You're looking for that dose of dopamine or something that spices up your life. And that's why you see a lot of people succumb to addiction. And I'm not saying that, let's say, because we have different form of addiction. Some form of addiction, it's like mentally, right? You're mentally attached to something. But there's also forms of physical addiction where, let's say, if you're going through a withdrawal from alcohol, some conditions you could literally die from it. And because your body needs it, then that's where you need like help of a professional and everything. But in a scope of the mental things that we do when we feel burnt out, I think we just need that little thing that spices up our life. And a lot of people don't have that little things. Everyone's so preoccupied with trying to please someone else, trying to, make money, because we live in a society where success is deemed either through a lot of fame, a lot of money, a lot of material goods. And so when you don't have any of those three, sometimes it feels like you're hitting rock bottom and you discover that rock bottom has a basement.
Yeah, you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, you feel overwhelmed because you can't cater to anyone else. And so you just fall back into something that makes you happy. And a lot of these things, right? Like, Kirk, you can probably tell me, but doing TikTok 24/7, sometimes it's not, you don't get that instant gratification. You have to work hard for it. But when you finally get it, you're happy. But a lot of people don't have the patience to go through that day, that week, that month, that year of struggle before finding success. And I wanted to know your opinion on it.
But even that, like, it feels like we're always chasing for something bigger or better or more views. Because one thing that was really bad with me when I was doing TikToks is my first videos, as we talked on the mini interview, I made 1 million views overnight. So every next video, I needed to hit that 1 million because I knew I could hit it. So every video I made that was under, let's say, 500K views, I would put it into private because I did not want people to see it because I was ashamed of that. and even like 500K views is it's a lot.
Still pretty good.
Yeah,
Even
it's pretty good.
nowadays. Yeah.
But based on my baseline that I put so high,
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is not enough, and I gotta do more. And I've seen this not only on TikTok, but also on like people that chase that with work, with money. And it's hard to say that because some people, they have a lot of money and it seems like everything is good, especially on social media. Like James, if we're on social media and we can see it.
Yeah.
But you don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. Like when that person goes to bed, what's going through their mind? Like, can they sleep? Like, we don't know. And the goal is not to put people down. It's just to not put anyone on a pedestal, because there's no man above me and there's no man below me. Everyone's a human.
Yeah.
And if you take that lens, there's nothing really to chase because we're already full, like within. I know it sounds so woo woo, but it's really that simple, I believe. And what do you think about that, James?
So you're saying that so addiction comes from the addiction of maybe success, right? So we're chasing views, we're chasing likes, we're chasing money. But at the end of the day, we don't need to have that because we're whole, right?
But it's like chasing,
Yeah.
but you're chasing something that doesn't really exist.
That's true, yeah. I honestly, man, like I'm such a victim of this.
Me too, man.
Because it's like yourself and like Danny, like, you know, we started social media very young, a long time ago, and getting likes, getting viral, getting the views, like it's like it's a dopamine that we've never experienced before as kids. We didn't grow up with Instagram and Facebook when we were in elementary school, right? Now kids are born with a phone in their hands, but when we were kids, as 90s kids, we weren't born with that. And so when we became adults, 18-year-olds, and we started having Instagram and TikTok, we started getting a different kind of like drug, which was social media, right? And if you've been in the game long enough, you've had viral videos. You've had I never had million likes, million views, but I had enough to be like, yo, like I want to keep doing this. I want to become famous, right? I can make a business out of this if I keep doing it. But as soon as you start plateauing, right, you started getting the 300 views, right? You started going way down, and it's just like demotivating. And I think the problem is it's not us. We're okay. You know what the problem is, and I think you're probably gonna go towards this. It's freaking the platform, right? Yeah. Like Instagram, like the Reels is like getting crazy, right? Like they want you to be on the app for hours. 1 hour is not enough, by the way. I burned through it in the morning. They want you to keep liking, keep posting, new ways of editing, doing captions, write a whole essay of captions so you could get onto the algorithm or the keywords, right? They just want you to keep using their app, and I think that's a problem. And I don't think it's our fault, but we're definitely like the users, right? So it's hard to navigate, definitely.
But like the way that they structured the apps is so genius.
It's complex, for sure.
It's really well made, and it's made to keep your attention there and to spend your time there.
It's crazy.
That's how they make their money.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, how they make money is through ads on their platforms. And people that pay for ads are people that want eyeballs. And where are the eyeballs coming from? From people using the app.
Yeah.
So that's why they have to keep you on the platform and make you like thirsty for views and thirsty to be on that.
It's insane.
But I think that's also why the volatility of like viral content, where they give you a taste of that million views.
Oh yeah.
So you keep posting, and then just a moment where you're consistent enough with it and you just get 400 views a time and you want to give up, then they're like, oh, let's push it towards the algorithm a tiny bit. You don't know, you never know. And that's why you see a lot of creators that is stuck with a single form of content. And you see them kind of go downhill because they always reuse that same form, right? I love the saying that says you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself turn into a villain.
Yeah, the Dark Knight.
And so you see a lot of these content creators constantly trying to push because they said, hey, if I do this TikTok dance, they like my face, I keep doing that, I will get 1 million views again. And they keep doing that same dance, they keep doing this, and it never works out. And I think it brings us back to the second topic, which is the repercussions of social media, where a lot of times that volatility causes a lot of burnout for creatives. And us three being creatives, we've seen and we've been through that burnout where we don't want to post because it's so demotivating. So I wanted to know you guys' input on one, being a creative on these apps and being obsessed with being viral, and number two, being a consumer of that content and always having so much content shoved down your throat that you want more, you want to see more.
So starting with the second point, like you want to see more and you're scrolling because the content is there. I was using the excuse of, hey, I'm a creator, I'm a creative, and I'm trying to learn the platform.
Yeah.
So I had to scroll to understand the trends, like study the platform.
Yeah.
So I tricked myself into thinking that, hey, this is work. Even if it was work, it trained my brain to be on those platforms and consume. So starting from there, being a creator on, let's say on TikTok in 2020, I was making a shit ton of views, but it was me on an elliptical doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
And doing that weird stuff, yes, no one else is doing that. But after a certain time, it becomes redundant. It's the same thing. I'm on that machine doing a funny thing with the trending song.
Gotcha.
So that was the thing, and big companies were getting to me and they were like, hey, can you like make a video? We're going to sponsor you.
Oh, wow.
So then they were ready to pay like $5,000 for 15 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit.
And they were paying. And I was like, oh shit, okay, I can make 15-second video that I was already doing and make $5,000.
Make 6 figures in a month.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's try it out. And when I started doing that, my creativity like just tanked. And because I was doing it for the views and I was doing it because I was getting paid. And that really did not help because like, as you said, Danny, like when a creator sees something work and they just do the same thing over and over again, it starts like killing you inside. And
it's like a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere, right?
But I think Kirk also brings up an important point for creators where it's like the thirst or the addiction to make a lot of money, right? You start selling your soul to the devil to continue to make that money, and you don't look, because you have those horse thing where it covers your eyes and you just move forward because
tunnel vision,
you just tunnel vision towards a certain goal because it works. And I think that leads to a lot of creative burnout where people just keep doing the same thing. Even me as a corporate photographer, right? I just kept doing LinkedIn shoots. I kept doing event shoots because it worked. And eventually I got fed up with it. I'm still doing it, but I got fed up with it.
Yeah, and you kind of lose your path.
Yeah.
You fall into a path that's already been carved by those companies because they're paying for it and people receive it and they do it for the views and for the engagement. So you're often like selling your soul to the devil. It's like you're selling your soul for that path that is already carved so clear. You can just do it, make money, and you're going to be the influencer. And it's that path that we are sold to. But really, as creatives, we're just ourselves. And how many things are you thinking are your own thoughts versus thoughts that you've heard or thoughts that have been put into your mind that are not your own? And so when you start asking yourself this question, well, not a lot of my thoughts are original. So how do we do that? Well, first, spend some time with yourself. And that comes back to the addiction point. Well, it's hard to spend some time with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
It's
Yeah.
so hard.
Well, yeah, you got to be critical about your own self, and like you were saying in the beginning, where I'm on the bus and I can't live without my music, right? It's like if you can't even be with your own thoughts, then how can you even like talk to yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's definitely detrimental, man. Like social media has definitely affected my mental health for a long time, to the point where I took long breaks. I was on TikTok in the early 2019, 2019 when it first opened, and I got some viral views. I was growing. I was like, yo, this is a thing. And as soon as I started getting like brands reach out and they wanted to do sponsorships. I didn't get that kind of cash, but they wanted me to do their stuff, their branding, their style, for a little bit of cash, And as soon as I was forced, because I was on a contract, right? I was forced to do their kind of content. I got totally turned off by it. Because like you were saying, it's like, it's not my path anymore. Like I created this thing on social media because I wanted to do it. It was my own path. But as soon as companies are trying to reach out and they want you to do their own thing, it's like, oh, I instantly get turned off. And I was like, oh, maybe social media is not for me, like as an influencer, I don't know if you ever got that feeling, or if Danny, if you ever got that,
Man, like the feeling of, why am I even on social media? Like,
yeah.
Why am I doing this?
It's like it's existential, Yeah.
And I'm just like, recently, a couple of months ago, I was like, do I really need to be on social media? Because my business is social media. Like,
yeah.
I'm doing social media, but do I need to be on social media? And after like a couple months of reflection, I was like, maybe I could stop using social media just as social media, but using it as a tool to reach more people. It's like your resume. And a lot of people carve their identity on social media in a way that, hey, this is who I am, this is who I portray to be, and it's hard to not get stuck in that hamster wheel of, hey, I'm building this character on social media because people are gonna like it, or I'm gonna get more clients. But it's not good for you, and it's not good for people watching you as well, because whether you want it or not, people are watching you very closely. And
True.
They're watching you, but at the same time, they're not watching you because they're also busy watching themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's like completely the opposite, but you still have to consider that people are watching you, and whatever you do, well, it has some repercussions.
For sure, yeah.
And I wanted to bring back to the point, like, what do you guys think as, like, why is social media so addicting for people in general? I just believe that it's the attention for content creators. For content creators, a lot of times it's the validation, the social validation, and then also the attention, the views, the money. That's why they always stick around social media. That's why they always, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'd be refreshing. After a viral video, I'd be constantly refreshing my feed and see like all the new
100%.
likes. I'm like, yeah. Dad, look, I'm not a failure anymore, huh?
Yeah.
But then for the consumer, I think we haven't talked a lot about consumer, but like, why are people so stuck on that? We call it the death scroll, where you just scroll through reels for hours and hours on end, and it just keeps going. And for you, James, where you blow through your 1 hour just going through social media, like why is it that people are so like, they're so attached to that medium when they could be doing something else in life?
Just a couple months ago, I was in that death roll. I saw a video that was really well visualized. It's a girl sitting in her room, and in front of her is a screen, a vertical screen, like a phone.
Yeah.
And once she scrolls like this, it's not the screen that goes up or down. it's her room that goes down. So it's an infinite roll of video, and every time she scrolls, she goes down in her room. So she's just like this going forever. And does it make sense?
Yeah, I can picture it.
So I was in that state, and I was so addicted that I was on my bed, laying there, scrolling in the morning until my phone was at 20% notification, 10% notification.
Damn.
Then 1%. Okay, let me go charge my phone. Sit beside my phone while it's charging, scrolling until it overheats. And I put it there, and maybe I go eat. Maybe I go take a shower. Maybe I go brush my teeth.
Yeah.
And that was really hard because it's not like, why are people just choosing to scroll instead of doing other things? It's because I was in that spot. There's nothing else to do. I was in the mindset of, hey, there's nothing else to do. There's no one I can talk to about this, because if I tell people I'm addicted to my phone, I'm addicted to social media, what are they going to think about me?
It's like a stigma.
Yeah, because I'm supposed to be working. I have a company. I'm supposed to be working on some projects, but I'm not. And if I tell them that, well, maybe I'm going to lose some work. And that's something that's really hard when you're in that point, is there's no one to talk about. And the next best thing you can do when you're in that spot is, as long as I'm alive and I'm just scrolling, it's good.
It won't hurt anyone.
Yeah, it won't hurt anyone. And I'm just scrolling. So there's no problem. And I know that I should be working or doing something, but nah. So I just take a nap. I take my phone back. Oh, cool. It's at 37%. Let me scroll. 20% notification, 10%. It was that over and over for like 3 weeks.
Damn.
Of eating once a day.
And when did you wake up from that?
Bro, when I woke up from that was, I had a client that I was supposed to do TikToks for them.
Yeah.
So I did some TikToks. They had the results. Well, they had the videos, but they did not have their expected results. So they were like, Kirk, we want a refund. Like, we believe that you owe us this refund, or on mérite a refund.
Yeah, we deserve it.
Yeah, we deserve this refund. So I was like, okay. I believe, like, especially at our age, reputation is more important than money.
Correct.
So I was like, okay, my reputation is really important, so I'll just refund them. And that put me in a weird spot.
Yeah.
So I talked to my girlfriend about that, and she just gave me that wake-up call. She's like, yo, you got to do something. You really got to do something. Because some people, you need to ease them into changing, but some people need a fucking...
Like a slap
in the face.
A slap in the face.
Yeah.
So I needed that slap because, bro, when I tell you, it was 12, 11 hours on my phone.
Holy fuck.
And that's crazy. So she gave me that slap. I woke up. I put the time limit. I already had it.
Yeah.
But now I put her passcode. But I asked her, like, okay, give me 4 numbers. She was not there. So she gave me 4 numbers. I put it down. So now every time the limit goes through, it's her passcode. Even if I know it, I can put it, but it's hers. So I'm
to think there's like a barrier.
Yeah, it's like it's an
like
accountability partner.
Yeah.
And I know it's not necessarily that good to rely on someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in that situation, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to do something to save yourself.
Yeah.
I think he brings up such an important point, is that you can't really ease yourself out of like a small addiction, right?
No, there's no slow process to
There's
it.
no slow process. I remember for me, like when I first started my career, right, as a photographer, shit hit the fan really bad. I was so drunk off of a bottle of vodka at home because I was like crying all night.
Yeah.
And my wake up call was when my sister came home and she saw me crying on the floor, and I was so hungry that like I just crawled to my dog's bowl and I ate my dog's food. So she was like, yo, you got to get your shit together. And then ever since then, I went cold turkey for it. And same thing with smoking too, right? I realized that it wasn't great, so I went cold turkey too. Yo, those fucking 3 weeks, I wanted to punch everyone in the face. But that's a thing with addiction. Even for video games, I literally I deleted all my video games off of my computer and I put my computer on the side. And I didn't touch video games anymore. I think people don't realize is that if you want to get out of a death spiral, you have to force yourself in a corner. Like some people, yeah, like ease yourself out of it, put yourself a timer, do like an hour, 30 minutes, go down to 15, do 5 minutes. It's like meditation, right? You can't just jump into a 30-minute meditation because then you'll start hearing voices. Some people like Kirk and I don't know about you, James, but we have to cold turkey their shit.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I don't know if I do cold turkey. I really abuse it until I'm sick of it. So I get bored quickly. So if I'm like, I use the example for gaming because that's like a recent example. I was gaming for like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks around that time. I think that an addiction for 3 weeks is pretty good. It's enough, you know. I was just gaming every night until the point where you just get sick of it. But then I sort of distract myself with something else. So I'd be gaming for 3 weeks, and I'm like, and then we would have a meeting with the guys for the podcast. And like, guys, we need to do social media. Like, we haven't been posting for 3 weeks because of me, because I've been gaming for 3 weeks. And then, so the guys, well, I guess it is a wake up call. So the guys tell me, yo, we need to post on social media or else we're going to fucking die off, right? So that's sort of the wake up call that they gave me. It's like, oh yeah, like snap back to reality. Like you have a business here. You have 2 other guys working with you. You're accountable for a portion of the company or the podcast. So do your job. So I was like, okay. So I told myself, okay, got to stop this shit and start editing, start posting. And you know, as soon as you put yourself accountable with people, just like you said with your girlfriend, I think my girlfriend's a huge motivator as well. The guys as well. You know, it's like, it's not a one-man show here. It's like, if one guy's not doing the job, then why are you here, right? I could be replaced by somebody else. So you got to put in the work, you know? And so yeah, I think I definitely relate to that. But other times I just wake myself up and I'm like, okay, I got to stop this shit and just start working. But I think wake-up calls are definitely the best way for addictions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it brings us to our last point of the podcast, which is ways we've overcame addiction or ways that people can overcome addiction. And we've shared all our points where we need the wake-up call.
Yeah.
And I think the wake-up call is so important to have. And James mentioned accountability. Having someone there to hold you accountable for something you do is the most important thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anyone in particular you're in business with or you're in a relationship with. It could be your best friend. You hold each other accountable and saying like, yo, bro, did you do this? No. Well, you better fucking do it.
Or your parents is the best example.
Yeah,
as well.
I think your parents always hold you accountable to a lot of things you do.
Especially when you're young, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kirk?
So in terms of curing this addiction, I'm still in the process of that.
Yeah.
I'm still
Aren't we
on
all,
social
yeah?
media and scrolling, but once I realize it, it's easier once you know that, hey, I might have a problem here. Like scrolling 12 hours a day might be a problem. So once you understand that, hey, okay, am I opening Instagram to just scroll on Reels, or am I opening Instagram to reply to my DMs and post a story because I need to because I want to post a story about my business? Why am I opening Instagram? So it's more giving us like recognizing this feeling of, okay, why am I doing this? And once you recognize the action, then you can decide, okay, what to do with this. So
I totally agree.
That's how I do it. It's not being a zombie anymore.
Yeah.
It's being conscious of what you're doing.
Yeah. I've been feeling that way these days too. Especially I scroll a lot for music or concepts for a reel. And I started doing that a lot. So I have a purpose to my scrolling, right? And I usually get ideas from that. But yeah, it's a freaking slot machine. It's dangerous.
Yeah. I think it's so important. Kirk mentioned the why behind a lot of things, and I
Yeah.
think it applies for a lot of things in life, in every types of addiction. Let's say gaming, right? There's nothing wrong in gaming. You could go and play video games. No one's stopping you. But if your relationship suffers, if your financial state suffers, if you end up being a whale on Call of Duty and spending $6,000 on knives, on like knife skins,
Yeah.
then you have to start asking yourself, like, why are you buying this? Why are you spending so much time doing this? And I don't want to be those hustle guys that's like, oh, instead of playing video games, you need to be doing something better with your life. Like, go to the fucking gym. Like, no, do whatever you want. But understand that there's a lot of things that you could be doing, but also understand that why are you doing all these things? Because understanding the why behind your action is the most important thing. If you understand that, hey, I just need like an hour break from the world by listening to music or hopping onto like video games, that's fine. And I think that's one way to understand your addiction yourself. And it brings us back all the way to the first point by saying that if you spend time with yourself and understand why you're doing something, you face your demons and you understand yourself, you can overcome any kind of addiction.
Yeah. Having the purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's usually coming from under the bed or from yourself,
Yeah.
because addictions don't just pop up like this.
Yeah.
Addictions don't just happen and, hey, I'm a victim of this addiction.
Yeah, you don't wake up and it's like, I want to smoke like crack.
Right. Like it must be coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
And often the monster under your bed, well, it's yourself.
Mm.
And how you understand where this addiction is coming from, as you said, Danny, it's spending time with yourself. And I'm saying this, but I need to do that more. Spending time with myself and really understanding, like, where is this addiction coming from? And once we know where, then we can start working with it.
Yes.
But if
Locate
it's
it.
just, okay, there's an addiction, what's the fix? Well, the fix is not that easy. Like, it's, who am I?
Yeah.
Like that's the existential question behind all of this, is who am I? Am I a person that scrolls on Instagram all day? Or am I a successful entrepreneur that's working on his projects, or a soon to be successful? It's more of your identity. Do you identify with this? Am I really a person that's scrolling on Instagram every single day for hours and hours? Do I really want to be this person? And once you start asking those questions, you can start understanding that maybe that's not what I want. And then the next questions are going to come,
Yeah.
one after another.
Next steps. Yeah. That's the slow process, right?
Yeah.
It's
Once
the
you
ugly
start
process.
Yeah, it's an ugly process, but it's definitely a slow one for sure. When you start recognizing why are you doing these kind of things.
Yeah, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you go like, oh shit. And you start waking up. And it's already bad if you know it. But once you start having the people you love get involved with it, and it's like, yo, this is too much. That's when it starts getting really ugly. Then it's a real wake up call. And
Oh yeah, there's tons of gambling ones are the worst.
yeah,
The stories selling their houses, their cars, their family. Like, it could get fucking deep.
yeah. But I think, let's say, there's so many resources out there to help people. There's no one-stop solution, right? Like, if someone comes up to someone and says, hey, to fix your addiction, I offer you a one-stop solution to do this. That doesn't exist. Honestly, personally,
Yeah,
it's a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one-stop solution. I think the best way to do a lot of things is to, number one, you find the resources. If you're able to do it yourself, if let's say, or you don't have the finances to hire like hire a psychologist to have therapy or something like that to understand yourself, then read a lot of books. If books aren't there for you, then audiobooks. If your attention span is as equal as a goldfish, then watch like 5-minute YouTube shorts or like 30-second YouTube shorts of people that can give you stuff. Start implementing, and at the end of the day, it's a lot of trial by fire, trying different things. I've tried meditation. It helped, but shit, like I cannot meditate for over. I've tried 5 minutes, then I did 10, 15. I moved up to like 20, but by the 25-minute mark, I started hearing voices. So I'm like, yo, this is not
You're
for
getting
me.
close, man. You're getting
But
close.
some people can meditate for like 3 hours, like in a row, and that's their solution. And I think we all have our different solution, and that's the way you have to go about, is finding different ways to go about how to fix your addiction and find who you are. Any last words, guys?
Well, for us being guys in the age gap, in the age that we are, I believe that like we already know what we're supposed to do,
Yeah.
or we know
Yeah.
what we're not supposed to do, at least.
Very true.
And often when we're looking for results or something to help us, we're looking for new information on shorts or on videos, but we already know how to do it. We just have to like maybe surrender to whatever we already know and try to dig deeper into ourselves, because we've consumed so much information
Yeah.
up until now. And so talking about final words is, I really believe that we have what we need, like within.
We have the resources to
Yeah.
do it.
Actually, a small
Yeah.
tangent.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the reason why a lot of these motivational YouTube shorts or pages are so popular among people? Because they say the most basic stuff, and then you just go like, "Oh shit,
It's
yeah,
so
I have to
true.
do this."
Yeah.
Like people, who Jordan Peterson, he's like, "Wake up, clean your room. That's the first thing you need to do."
Yeah,
People are like,
yeah.
"Yo, this is mind blowing. I need to clean my room." But then you realize, like, yo, I just have to keep my shit clean 24/7. I can't clutter my space because my space is a reflection of my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this because my place looks like World War III. I'm like all over the fucking place right now. But do you think that that's a reason why a lot of these motivational pages are very popular for people who are seeking validation?
I think that's a good point, that some people are seeking validation of their own thoughts. They need permission from someone else to tell them, yeah, this is what you need to do.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's very true.
But like the permission that you need is just from yourself. Like just, yeah, I know it sounds simple. Like if you're homeless, get a house. No, it's like, it's like you already have the solution.
Yeah.
Like you know what the solution is. It's stop consuming. But how do you stop consuming? Then I'll stop using the word just. You have to look
Within.
deeper within. And so I think that's why those videos are pretty
Very popular, yeah.
popular.
So remember, guys, according to Kirk, if you have asthma, there's so much air out there, just breathe. I'm kidding. I think that was a great episode, and
Yeah.
it's perfect because a few episodes beforehand, we talked about therapy, and now we talked about a lot of the addiction. And thank you again so much for being on the podcast. Where can we find you?
Thank you. First, thank you, James. Thank you, James. Thank you, Danny. You can find me on Instagram at Kirk, WHEN, so Kirk Wen. And you can call me at, no, just kidding. And so that's where you can find me. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. If anyone has any questions about social media, feel free to leave it in the comments or in the suggestion box on Spotify for Kirk to see. We'll send him all the messages, and we'd love to have you again to discuss more different things about social media, TikTok. I mean, you seem to be the specialist in it. Like,
Yeah.
I've posted a lot of cringe TikToks and I'm not proud of it. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking delete my TikTok, man. It's so cringe.
You should. No, it's good. It's good.
Thank you, guys.
But as always, my name is Danny. I'm here with my co-host
KYP James.
and our special guest.
Kirk Wen.
And remember,
The KYP.
kill your pride.
Peace.
미워하고 하고서 막상 만나면 다 잊어버렸어 내 머릿속엔 이따금 심수많은 네가 있어